Ladies and gentlemen, meet the 1940 Chevrolet COE, the truck that drove face first into responsibility and kept working. COE means cab over engine, but in real life it means the driver sat almost on the machinery, hearing every piston think about rent. This was a short-nosed American hauler for people who needed more cargo, tighter turning, and less drama than a politician explaining a missing budget. Before we climb into this pre-war brick with headlights, subscribe to the channel. It costs nothing, makes the algorithm smile, and unlike a 1940 clutch, will not make your left leg file a complaint. The 1940 Chevrolet COE came from the United States, from Chevrolet, the truck division of General Motors. Chevrolet launched its first factory cab-over-engine trucks in 1939. So the 1940 model was still a fresh idea, not yet the familiar urban delivery shape seen after the war. The named designer is not usually credited. This was more GM engineering than a celebrity designer moment. In those days, trucks arrived with charts, payload ratings, and the promise that your bakery, farm, fuel company, furniture shop, or municipal department could carry more without buying a county road-length vehicle. The market context was simple. America in 1940 was still climbing out of the Depression years. Business owners were cautious, and Europe was already at war. The United States had not yet entered World War II, but industry smelled change. A cab-over layout answered a practical problem: move the cab forward, shorten the front, and give more useful length to the body. Bodies could include chassis cab, stake, platform, and rackwork bodies. Exact COE-only production numbers are not easy to verify, and survival numbers are even harder, because most of these trucks lived brutal working lives. They were loaded, repaired, repainted, and sometimes retired behind barns where nature repossessed them. Technically, the 1940 Chevrolet used Chevrolet's proven valve in head inline-six gasoline engine. Factory data lists 6 cylinders in line. In COE form, the chart gives 80 gross horsepower at 3,100 revolutions per minute. That sounds small until you remember this truck was built to leave a loading dock, not impress a teenager at a gas station. The engine sat under and slightly ahead of the cab area, feeding a conventional 4-speed manual transmission with 1 reverse gear. The heavy-duty gearbox had a low first gear, direct fourth, and a clutch rated for 192 pound-feet, or about 260 Newton-meters. Drive went to the rear wheels through a rugged truck driveline. Suspension used beam axles and leaf springs, the kind of arrangement that tells your spine exactly what the road surface is thinking. Braking was hydraulic, with internal expanding service brakes, and the parking brake worked through the driveline. The COE fuel tank held about 68 liters, mounted outside the right frame rail behind the cab. Curb weight depended on wheelbase and body. A chassis with cab was around 3,720 to 3,925 pounds, about 1,687 to 1,780 kilograms. Chevrolet focused on gross weights and tire combinations, not top speed or fuel economy, which is a polite factory way of saying, "Sir, this is a truck, not a racehorse." Design-wise, the 1940 Chevrolet looked like somebody took a normal truck, pushed the cab forward with both hands and said, "There now, earn money." The nose was short, the windshield upright, the fenders proud, and the grille still carried that late 1930s confidence, not luxury, not glamour, but a work suit with polished shoes. More cargo length on less wheelbase meant bakeries, furniture movers, oil companies, farms, and city services could squeeze into places where a long conventional truck would need 3 attempts and a prayer. Compared with conventional Chevrolet trucks of the same period, the COE felt more specialized. A normal hooded truck was easier to service and more familiar to old school drivers. The cab-over gave better maneuverability and a larger practical body area, but it also put the driver closer to heat, noise, and mechanical honesty. Ford and GMC had similar working ideas, and all of them shared one truth. In 1940, comfort meant the seat had padding and the door probably closed. In the collector market, the 1940 Chevrolet sits in a strange and wonderful corner. Original survivors are rare because they were tools, not toys. Restored examples attract truck people, Art Deco fans, and business owners who want a rolling billboard with personality. Custom COEs can become car haulers, brewery trucks, or parade machines. Interesting stories follow these machines because their second lives are often louder than their first. Many were rebodied during work, converted after the war, or rescued decades later from farms. Some became fire trucks, wreckers, fuel delivery rigs, and promotional haulers. The legend is not one racing victory or one famous owner. The legend is that a truck like this could spend its youth carrying serious weight, then spend its retirement making grown men point like children at a county fair. And that is why I like it most. The 1940 Chevrolet has a face you remember, a layout that makes sense, and a personality that arrives before the engine sound does. It is not refined, but it is sincere. It is not fast, but it has purpose. It is one of those vehicles that reminds us that design can be beautiful simply because it works. Now the money, because every dream eventually meets a wallet. I cannot give a verified factory list price for the exact 1940 Chevrolet COE without a period dealer price sheet, so I will not invent one. As a useful scale, $1,000 in 1940 equals about $24,000 today, or roughly 20,430 euros. The public market for 1940. So, if you ever buy a 1940 Chevrolet COE, do not expect silence, softness, or fuel station invisibility. Expect smiles, questions, and one neighbor asking if it runs on secret government moon diesel. Take care of it, drive it proudly, and if Timmy offers to improve the brakes with fishing line, smile politely, hide the keys, and subscribe before he finds the toolbox.